Hello friends, and welcome back to English Unleashed. In today's episode, I will be speaking solely in past tense and present perfect tense. I plan to share about my own life, to help you hear and feel how we naturally use these two tenses in everyday conversation. I will divide my story into several main parts. First, I'll talk about my work and travel experiences. Then, after explaining briefly the basic rules of these tenses, I'll continue discussing my health, hobbies, and the dreams I've had in the past. Throughout this talk, you'll hear what I've done in the past and what I've achieved or experienced up to now. So, sit back and relax. If you want to learn faster, try shadowing my voice repeat everything I say, trying to match the rhythm and tone. Are you ready? Let's start with my work life. My career began when I was quite young. I took my first steps into the working world by helping out at a small cafe close to where I studied. There, I learned how to clean tables, prepare simple drinks, and communicate with customers. Although I only worked there for a short time, those months taught me many valuable lessons about responsibility and service. Later, after finishing my studies, I looked for something more meaningful and challenging. I went to various interviews until I finally found a job teaching English at a language center. At the beginning, I felt very nervous. My first lessons didn't go quite as planned. I forgot parts of my lessons, and the students seemed confused. It was a tough start, but I didn't give up. With time, I gained confidence and realized that teaching was something I truly loved. Over the years, I've worked at different schools, moving to larger cities and meeting students from many different backgrounds. I have designed my own lesson plans, created teaching materials, and organized speaking clubs and conversation classes on weekends. Each class has taught me something new about communication, about culture, and about myself. My students have shared their goals and struggles with me, and through them, I've learned about their rich traditions and diverse lives. Because of these experiences, I have become not only a better teacher but also a more understanding person. Teaching has left me with many cherished memories. Watching shy students transform into confident speakers, receiving messages from people saying that learning English changed their lives, and sharing stories that stay with me. Now, let's talk about my adventures through travel. Traveling has played a major role in shaping who I am today. My very first trip abroad took me to France. I was still a young adult, and I traveled with a close friend. We took a night train to Paris and stayed in a budget hotel. We visited museums, strolled along the river, and enjoyed the sights. That trip opened my eyes to how exciting and enriching travel can be. A couple of years later, I spent several weeks in Spain. I studied the language and lived with a native family. They showed me how to cook traditional Spanish dishes, introduced me to their friends, and took me to local festivals. I even watched football matches in small bars and danced at neighborhood celebrations. Every moment was an adventure, and I loved every bit of it. More recently, I had the opportunity to visit Japan. I spent nearly a month there, walking through peaceful temples and climbing Mount Fuji. Although it was physically demanding, I felt a deep sense of pride for reaching the top. Over the years, I have traveled to dozens of countries, seeing the northern lights in icy landscapes, watching sunrises in deserts, tasting street foods in bustling markets, sailing in the Mediterranean, and forming friendships that last a lifetime. Each trip has taught me something new. The importance of patience when things go unexpectedly, the ability to find happiness in simple moments like a shared meal or a kind conversation, and the value of being open to new experiences. Travel has given me more than any classroom ever could. Of course, there are still places I haven't explored yet, such as certain regions in Africa or parts of South America, so I look forward to my future adventures. Before we finish, let's review what we've learned about the tenses. The past simple is used when we talk about actions completed at specific, clear moments in the past, things that started and finished before now. For example, I visited Japan in 2015, or I worked in a city for several years. In contrast, the present perfect links past actions to the present. We use it to talk about life experiences without specifying exactly when they happened, or actions that started in the past but still affect us now, as in I have traveled to many countries, or I have been a teacher for many years. Understanding these two tenses will help you tell your stories more naturally. Keep practicing, and soon it will feel like second nature. Thanks for tuning in and listening to my story. I hope it inspires you to share your own experiences in English. Keep learning, stay curious, and most importantly, enjoy the journey. Until next time, take care. Talking about my past and present achievements, I've dedicated many years to teaching. It's a profession I'm still passionate about today. Over the years, I've participated in numerous races. Though these races happened in the past, they continue to have an impact on me now. They're a source of pride, and I often share my experiences with friends. Before we move on, I encourage you to practice talking about your own life using both the past simple and present perfect tenses. Try creating sentences like, I visited Spain last summer for a specific past event. I have visited Spain many times for experiences that continue to influence me today. Practicing switching between these tenses will make your speaking sound more natural over time. My journey with health and lifestyle. Health wasn't always a top priority when I was younger. I used to eat a lot of fast food, drink plenty of fizzy drinks, and stay up late playing video games. As a result, I often felt tired, yet I didn't make any changes. One day, when I was in my mid-20s, I decided to change my habits. I started going to the gym and running regularly. At first, I was only able to run a short distance, but gradually, I improved. Eventually, I completed my first 5-kilometer race, and I remember how proud I felt crossing that finish line. I also changed my diet, cooking more meals at home, buying fresh vegetables and fruits, and learning to prepare simple, healthy dishes. These changes greatly improved my energy levels and mood. Since then, I've maintained these habits, participating in many races, including longer ones, and going to the gym several times a week for years. I've also tried new activities like swimming, hiking, and yoga, which have helped me feel stronger and more balanced. Additionally, I've focused on my mental health by meditating nearly every morning for several years. I enjoy walking in nature and having peaceful mornings without technology, which keeps me calm and positive. Of course, I've had my off days, weeks when I skipped workouts or indulged in junk food, but I've learned not to give up. Small, consistent habits really can transform your life over time. My hobbies and learning experiences. Growing up, I discovered my love for music when I was a teenager. My uncle gave me an old guitar, and I practiced in the evenings after school. Even though my fingers hurt, I kept at it. After some time, I could play a few songs, and I felt proud of my progress. During university, I joined a small band. We performed at student parties and local cafes, which was an exciting experience. It taught me about teamwork and creativity. Later in life, I took a break from playing, but I recently returned to it. I've written new songs and performed at small events again. Playing the guitar brings me happiness and reminds me why I fell in love with music in the first place. Another passion I discovered on a trip to Italy was cooking. I took a class in Rome and learned how to make fresh pasta. Since that day, I have cooked hundreds of meals, invited friends over, and shared my favorite recipes. Aside from music and cooking, I also explored painting landscapes and city scenes, taken thousands of photos during my travels, and read extensively about topics like philosophy, history, and art. All these hobbies have enriched my life and made it more meaningful. Not every hobby lasted, though. I tried learning violin but stopped after a few months, and I joined dance classes but felt shy and eventually quit. Still, even these brief experiences taught me valuable lessons that trying new things is always worth it. In conclusion, my life has been full of different experiences. I've made mistakes, learned from them, and met many wonderful people along the way. I've traveled to beautiful places and grown as a person. Through all of this, I've changed and developed. Thanks for listening today. I hope sharing my story helped you understand how we use English to talk about past actions and ongoing experiences. Now, I encourage you to think about your own story, what you've done in the past, and what you've achieved so far. When you can tell your story in English, it truly becomes your own language. I've enjoyed sharing this with you, and I hope we shared a meaningful moment today. Keep learning, practicing, and believing in yourself. Until next time, bye for now.